You know what sucks? STDs. They suck. They blow. They're terrible. They're crap. You can't even call them STDs anymore. You have to call them sexually transmitted infections or STIs. I just, I understand the desire to try to like make it seem less grody, right? But overall, it's a disease. And it's oftentimes diseases can be treated with certain types of medication. Penicillin is a pretty good one for getting rid of some nasty bugs that might impact your genitals. Unless you have herpes, in which case, hey, guess what? You're like a lot of other people out there, so you're really not special if you have herpes. So please, Monica, stop making comments that you're special because you have herpes. Everyone, like fucking 90% of the population has herpes these days. Get the hell over your damn self, all right? Just get some Valtrex on that damn shit. But anyway, there's a new player in town when it comes to sexually transmitted diseases, and that would be super gonorrhea. That's right. Man has world's worst super gonorrhea. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not something I'd ever want to be known for. I'm not saying I don't want to have it personally, honestly. I never want to have it. But when it comes like having an article written about having super gonorrhea, it just sounds like you contracted something that was, like it's, you're not going to be a superhero after getting it, right? You're not going to be able to sit there and say, oh, I contracted super gonorrhea, therefore I'm now super gonorrhea man. No, not the thing at all. But this kind of gonorrhea is definitely scary. So it says here that a man in the UK has caught the world's worst ever case of super gonorrhea. He had a regular partner in the UK, but picked up the superbug after a sexual encounter with a woman in Southeast Asia. So this dude, I love how they I love how they dance around the subject there. Well, he had a partner in the UK, but it wasn't until a sexual encounter in Southeast Asia, to which case he contracted the super gonorrhea. It's just like, they're like, dude, he cheated on whoever the hell he was with, right? He had a partner, he cheated on her, okay? Or maybe not. They say that they're very much not using gender here at all. Very interesting, isn't it? Doesn't it kind of, it kind of makes you think that this person might in fact be a dude who likes other dudes. Anyway, the Public Health England says this is the first time this infection cannot be cured with the first choice antibiotics. Health officials are now tracing any other sexual partners of the man who has not been identified in an attempt to contain the infection spread. So we've gone from, sir, you've contracted the world's worst case of super gonorrhea that's currently immune to all of our first choice antibiotics. So you contracted this in Southeast Asia in a random sexual encounter, and we need to absolutely positively make sure that you have not infected anyone else. Is it possible that you were not a flight attendant in your previous life that died from AIDS? Because that's kind of what this feels like here. And that's a horrible joke to make, and that whole AIDS epidemic from the 80s was terrible, terrible, terrible. But still, super gonorrhea is out there in the world, and it's infecting people, and it cannot be stopped. That is where we are right now. So anyway, he says he picked up the infection earlier in the year. The main antibiotic treatment, a combination of, I'm not even going to pronounce those drugs, has failed to treat the disease. Dr. Gwenda Hughes from Public Health England says this is the first time a case has displayed such high-level resistance to both these drugs and to most other commonly used antibiotics. Discussions with the World Health Organization and the European Centers for Disease Control agree that this is a world first. Well, isn't that lovely, right? Isn't that special? You're going to go down in history as the first person in the West that's contracted super gonorrhea, right? So the question here, the question that I have in regards to all this, for one, is where did you contract it? Okay, Southeast Asia. How did you contract it? Are there any other cases in that region of Southeast Asia of super gonorrhea? And if there aren't, and if you didn't even pass it to the person that you came back and you were bumping uglies with after you got a little bit rough in the tumble with someone in Southeast Asia, then what does that tell you about how this disease is spread? If super gonorrhea is something that's going to be completely immune to antibiotics that are the normal, cure for this, then, but it didn't transmit to the other partner or partners that this man has had, something tells me, and I'm going to be going full tinfoil hat here, that this is a synthetically created drug that's meant to be, or a synthetically created disease that's meant to be tested right now in the general marketplace. With everything going on with Russians and nerve agents in the UK, now we have a man with super gonorrhea. Is it a coincidence? I think not. Okay, taking the hat off. Anyway, it goes on to say here that analysis of the man's infection suggests one last antibiotic could work. He is currently being treated, and doctors will see if it has been successful next month. So far, no other cases, including in the British partner, have been discovered, but the investigation is still underway. Dr. Hughes added, "We are following up on this case to ensure that the infection was effectively treated with other options and the risk of any onward transmission is minimized. Doctors have long been warning this could happen." Now, yeah, we've heard about this kind of stuff before, right? Oftentimes the reason how they come up with these super viruses, these super diseases, is like they just build up an immunity to the antibiotics that you know, people take, right? So they keep evolving, they keep adapting. These diseases take on a life of their own. Imagine that episode of Rick and Morty when they go into the homeless guy's body for like the germ park or whatever, and hepatitis C really hates hepatitis B. Kind of something like that. The next evolution of the disease is now, you know, not able to be stopped by first choice antibiotics. But I don't know if this necessarily means that it's just like we are over medicating ourselves, so they're getting stronger to combat it. But the weird thing too, and again, I am no doctor, I'm just a dumb idiot commentator on the internet. But if we've been able to effectively eradicate smallpox and measles, which are very heavily infectious and all that jazz, why can't we get rid of super gonorrhea? If it's treated with antibiotics, why not? I don't know. Maybe there's like a correlation there. It's like, how did you cure the hantavirus? Try that with this shit. But at the same time, I also have to ask the question, was this man already infected with gonorrhea prior? Right? Because if the super gonorrhea gets to him, his body's first time dealing with it, maybe the antibiotics would work because it's the first time. Again, not a doctor, no medical experience, merely questioning stuff out loud. But I also kind of wonder if this dude has had gonorrhea before and he cured it, and this time the super gonorrhea is what really got him. I don't know. Either way, there is a strain of super gonorrhea floating around Southeast Asia. It exists. It's there. It's waiting in the dark. So if you go to Southeast Asia and you're going to get sexual with somebody, if you're going to bump pelvises with somebody, by all means, wear a full body condom. Yeah, it might be hot and muggy, but it saves your ass from super gonorrhea, which is not anything that would make you a superhero, because what is your superpower going to be? Colorful discharge? What you just saw was a shorter clip from a longer show. The Rustled Podcast airs every Sunday through Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard on rustled.net. Please consider subscribing to the channel as well as 3 Buck Theater and potentially becoming one of our sponsors at patreon.com/MundaneMatt. Thank you and have a great day.